There really
is a lot to this plot.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
If you were part of this internet cult, you got a pass to go to the pre-screening of the movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Movie Wars podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Seth, and once again, we've got Mr. Evan Burke back with us. Say hello.
Hi, guys. 5th episode here, guys.
Boom.
5th episode. Is this a record?
Other than Drew Davis, this is a record.
Yeah, other than Drew Davis. But Drew's never done 3 in one day.
When you mean other than, how many episodes has he done? More than 5?
Oh, yeah. He's done like 10, I think.
Yeah, he did the Snyderverse. He did American Psycho.
Oh, he's probably done 15 with
Yeah,
this.
he's done
He
a
also
few.
did all 5 Crow movies.
He did the Crow movies.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Well, it looks like we're doing Rocky trilogy after this
Yeah.
Rocky
with Evan
and
Burke.
Creed.
With Evan Burke. So I look forward to
We're going to hit all 9.
dethroning Drew Davis.
Evan is now trying. So this isn't even about the podcast or comedy for Evan at this point. Now it's about
Beating
destroying
Drew
Drew.
Davis.
You bet your ass it is.
And so you have been, we were just talking, you have been doing you produced the Nashville's Funniest Comic.
Nashville's Funniest Comic here in
Yeah.
Nashville. It's kind of
Yeah.
like our March Madness where it's,
I think this comes out the day of the finale.
ooh, October 4th.
Or like right around it, yeah.
Ooh,
maybe
perfect.
like right
Yeah.
after. So
Yeah, I mean, we, it's just a fun way to get some friendly competition. We got a lot of folks in town that like to talk shit, run their mouth, think they're the best. So it's an opportunity for people to put their money where their mouth is. $25 entry fee. Anybody can enter, no matter your experience level, no matter what. Anybody that wanted to enter this year was able to enter because we had people drop. We had last minute people. So truly 96 comics.
damn,
Oh my
nice.
gosh.
Started 8 prelim shows, 12 comics on each show. Yeah, it's been fun. So all the money goes to the winner. They get $3,000 grand
Hell yeah.
prize.
Wow.
Which is awesome. We've done shows at all of the kind of local spots that do comedy. Our judges have all been really the most prominent comedy bookers kind
And
of
entertainment bookers.
in Nashville and the region, entertainment bookers. I mean, I heard earlier today that 3 comics have already gotten bookings from judges,
Oh, amazing.
whether they advanced in their round or not.
Hell
So it's been a lot of fun. So again,
Wonderful.
just one of those things where it's friendly competition. I feel like things like that, they're kind of like a net neutral for everyone else, like everyone that competes, even if you don't win, right? Like if the New York Yankees don't win the World Series, does it make them not a baseball team? Does it make them any less of a contender next year or anything like that? No. But, if the Cleveland Indians win the World Series, Cleveland Guardians win the World Series.
Oh, yes.
It's like, hey, let's pay attention to them next year. It's a cap in it's a cap in their feather in their cap.
Feather in their cap.
Feather in their cap,
Yeah.
So last year Rob Wentz won. This year we're looking to crown someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a little behind the scenes baseball too, and you were illuminating this for us before, but a comedy contest is the ultimate psychological aspect of comedy.
Oh,
There's
Mhm.
For those that don't do stand up, it's one thing to be funny, it's one thing to be a good joke writer. That's 30% of the battle. 70% of the battle, whether it's a contest or not, is knowing what room you're walking into, what audience you have. If you're doing a corporate gig who's not expecting comedy and you walk in and they're drunk and they're like, make me laugh, or a room. And like with these, you were talking about like one comic brought the majority of the room.
Yeah.
And so knowing that comic's taste and how he plays, you got to then bend to the room.
Yeah.
And so for those that don't do stand-up, there is an amazingly psychological component to doing stand-up.
And sometimes the people that bring the most don't actively even do comedy and participate in the scene, but they tell all their friends, hey, I've been thinking about this. My big debut is on this night.
Yeah.
They get 20 to 25 people out there.
Yeah.
And, I like to call it, it's an any given Sunday kind of thing where, depending on what the weather is, depending on who the judges are, depending on who did bring out the most people. Was it the young person who brought out the most people, making the demographics quite young? Or was it somebody who's potentially kind of older? And now you've got to, tailor to that graphic. Was it somebody who's more, who might bring out a more conservative audience and they might want a cleaner type of comedy, right? Any given night. Some nights we've seen comics advance doing more of the spicy, dirty, edgier material. And other nights we've seen where cleaner comedy was more prioritized.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
But I think that
it's been
lends
hard. It's been hard to
itself-
predict, really.
But I think that lends itself to the idea that really the only two rules of comedy that especially would apply to contests: be clever and be funny.
Yeah.
That's literally it. That's all you have to
Mhm.
do. You can be dirty and win over clean people if you're clever and if you're funny. Like,
Yeah.
like but also at the same time, if people are coming expecting Kill Tony levels of dirt, and you come out with Nate Bargatze levels of clean, but you're clever and you're funny, you can win those people over.
Tron Legacy, let's just do a quick overlay of the show or a quick review. We do a little bit of film history, which Seth's going to do for Tron Legacy today.
That I am.
It's a passion project.
Absolutely.
We do randos, which are the most interesting facts from research. We do the questions, which are just questions written to generate conversation. And then we finish with the war zone, which is just four categories, and we do rapid fire.
Yeah.
Yes or no's. Take us there.
Yeah,
with the
boys.
history.
So before we get to the history, let's talk about our feelings for this movie, because obviously I saw it in theaters when it came out. I actually got to go to a pre-screening, which we will get to later. So I got to see it a week and a half before it actually came out in IMAX 3D. And at the time, this was a movie, like there had really only been two movies I had ever been this excited about for them coming out to theaters. And it was King Kong, Peter Jackson's King Kong. Was very excited to see that in theaters. And then this was such a trip to be able to see this in theaters. I had just discovered Tron when it got released on DVD, and I think like 04, 05, and my family had been obsessed. And then when we heard this one was coming out, it was incredible. Rewatching it now, I definitely remembered that the middle lagged a little more than I would have wanted it to. I thought the introduction to the world and everything leading up to Olivia Wilde's character Cora picking up Sam from the games was incredible. And I thought the finale, the third act in general, was really great. But that middle act, I feel like, could have been tightened up by about 15 to 20 minutes. And it probably would have made this a significantly better movie. But what were y'all's thoughts just on the movie itself?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, I had never watched the Tron movies until I watched them back to back in order to do these podcasts. So, if I'm putting it in the context of how did we recreate this world that people were excited about? How did we build on this franchise? If I'm looking at it kind of like through the Jumanji lens, like we loved the OG Jumanji. It was a game-changing movie. How are we now going to apply that to like today's
I like that filter.
CGI, right? So I really liked it from that perspective. To your point, I really liked what we set up at the beginning. We kind of just got right into it. There's a certain level of assumptions that they want you to be able to make as an audience and as a viewer. That's just kind of like, hey, we're not going to get you totally up to speed. Like,
well, I'll explain why that is in a little bit, but yeah.
So they kind of give you more credit as a viewer. That's like, hey, you know where we're at, and we're not gonna kind of spoon feed you all of this exposition. So I really liked what they did by creating like how they showed Tron in this new world. Part of me would have liked to have seen them almost like recreate what they did in the 80s, but as opposed to fully updating and upgrading. But I understand why they did, because again, this is like a new program, right? It's not the original. Because
this is the program that Kevin Flynn wrote.
Exactly. So but no, I mean, I love the Daft Punk element to it. I will say like the Jeff Bridges de-aging,
it doesn't hold up
it doesn't hold up in Olivia Wilde's makeup at times. This, I'm like, there's a few things where I'm kind of like, all right, guys.
Yeah. And granted, this was the first time that level of de-aging had been done to anybody. So this was very revolutionary, like motion capture technology on the face. And I will say for Clue specifically, I feel like it did make him feel a little bit more like a video game character. So that was where I was able to forgive it for the whole movie. It is the very beginning and the flashbacks where Jeff Bridges is Flynn, that it's like, that definitely doesn't look as good as like Luke Skywalker did when they did it in The Mandalorian. So,
or even True Detective season 3.
I didn't see. I still haven't seen that
where
one
where they did it really well there too.
That's cool. But this, kind of like Tron itself did. This did open itself up to new technologies. What'd you think?
Well, one thing I wanted, and I said this about Tron, was that I forgave the acting because they had a bigger vision.
Yeah.
And the acting wasn't bad. It just didn't. No one gave a performance here. I think we're years later. The technology's advanced. Yes, they're still innovating in this movie, but I just wanted better performances. Somehow, across the board, most of the performances in this are bad.
Michael Sheen's my favorite.
Really?
As Zeus, I think he's the one standout
He's good.
character of the whole film.
Garrett Hedlund, who plays Sam Flynn, was bad.
Yeah.
Straight up bad, distractingly bad.
See, I didn't think he was that.
It
bad.
almost felt like this was a new guy they were testing out.
Yeah.
Like,
he actually was. They went through a very extensive casting process. Went through thousands of actors.
Yeah.
Before they landed on him.
I mean, who else were they considering? They had to have been considering
Yeah.
people that actually
They didn't say specifically in the
had
behind the
staying
scenes that
power
I
in
watched.
Hollywood. Because
Yeah.
this guy,
They
Yeah.
did, but what they said in the behind the scenes was they went through thousands of actors, some of which were world class household names. Other people were completely unknowns, and ended up settling on him.
Yeah, I just thought every line was delivered with a snark. And
Granted, though, if your dad disappeared in a video game when you were 11, wouldn't you have a little bit of snark in your life?
all the time, all the time.
You kind of do now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm snarky. I'm a pretty snarky guy. But Jeff Bridges here is bad. I just don't.
See, I disagree.
It's so bad.
Interesting.
I agree with you. Michael Sheen was the best performance in the film, but the performance is just, I was like, wow, the technology's better. Some room to breathe with actually directing actors here. No bueno. I also, one thing that I struggled with is, for some reason, I talked about wanting to touch grass in the last one.
Yeah.
But the last one somehow still felt more tactile to me.
Mhm.
It felt more physical. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like even though the
Oh,
technology...
it's interesting you say that. Okay.
Yeah, I actually felt there was more physicality, even though the world, like, they had never done it before, and no one had ever done CGI like that before. I still felt like there was more integration between the characters in the world and the environment. Here, I'm losing interest because I just feel like it's maybe it's overstimulation. I felt overstimulated a lot through the movie. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of color. And the first one somehow, even though there was more saturated colors and it was more grainy, I didn't get nearly as distracted. Here, I'm just like, I'm glad I don't get what are they, not aneurysms?
Oh yeah, epilepsy.
I'm glad I don't have epilepsy, because I'm like, I would be having a seizure right now. And I just,
That's interesting, because this actually had more practical sets than the original one did.
I didn't connect. I didn't really connect with the physicality of it. I did appreciate the part I did appreciate most was that we got a little more into the outside world.
Yeah.
I thought the politics were interesting, but the only thing about the political aspect of, like, in terms of political and technology sense of the technology world, is that the first one was so forward looking.
Yeah.
This one almost looked back. This one was like, the first one looked way forward. This one kind of looked back a little bit. So it wasn't predicting. So because I've been in tech, some of the stuff they were talking about, and I tried to transport myself back to 2010. I was like, even in 2010, a little bit of this is a little old news.
Yeah.
It was like, so it's kind of weird how they had all this time, and I'm not feeling like it moved the needle as much as the first one did.
I do think graphically it kind of took us into the late stage PS4, early stage PS5 era.
Yeah.
As far as just the look of the grid itself. So in that way, I do think it kind of looked a little forward. But at the same time, this one had that issue of having to satisfy fans of the original.
Right.
They couldn't necessarily alienate that group of people to make something brand new. So I think ultimately it had a hurdle it was never going to be able to get over, as far as being as good or as magical as the original one was. But I think as far as sequels go, and especially looking at it 25 years later, I think it stands on its own reasonably well as a movie, especially compared to most of the sequels we get today. Like, a lot of them just feel like ridiculous cash grabs, and there's no love poured into them. When you look through, and we'll talk about a lot, especially when it comes to how this film was marketed before it came out, there was so much love put into making this movie whatever it could be of the time. And the original director came back as one of the producers, and Jeff Bridges actually said that he wasn't going to come back until he found out that he was going to be a part of the movie. So, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that came together. Let's get into the
Bridging
history.
the gap.
Huh?
Bridging the gap.
Jeff Bridges.
Okay,
Bridges.
Hefe.
Bridge joke.
So Disney had actually considered a sequel from the get-go. Like when the movie came out in 1982, they had genuinely considered a sequel, but they never really had concrete plans. It would get brought up later in the 80s and in the 90s, and people would have kind of ideas, but nothing really ever stuck. They never felt like they could do it. By the early 2000s, though, now this is where I became a fan, was the early 2000s. It re-released for the first time, I think, on video. Like you could watch Tron at home. People hadn't been able to do that before. And so they realized there was actually fan interest in a Tron sequel. And so that's when development started, was in 2003, which it was originally put under the title Tron 2.0. And they had a few other names as time went on. But Disney brought on producer Sean Bailey, and they began exploring it with a way more serious connotation. He went back and he was like, so here are the things that I remember 20 years later from the original movie. And that's the suits were lit, light cycles, Jeff Bridges, and the screen looked like unlike anything I'd ever seen on a movie screen before. And he said, that's what we're beholden to. And that's at the very least what we have to bring to these movies. And before this, really the only like big digital movies that I can really think of were like Spy Kids and Shark Boy and Lava Girl, like were the entire, and I guess maybe like Sin City, but it's like you didn't really have these movies that were so much of a digital empire until Tron Legacy really came out. It was also one of the first movies that was shot in 3D for IMAX digitally.
Yeah.
So
that begs the question, you know, it almost just shows like they didn't want to recreate the world of Tron. They wanted to recreate the impact that Tron 1 had.
Yeah. Absolutely.
On films, which is a totally different objective than like what kind of a sequel is supposed to be. Honestly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's kind of like, I think the jump from Terminator to T2 is very similar. Like James Cameron said, we're taking this up a notch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think this succeeds a lot there, where it does take the old concepts and does take it up another notch, especially in the design. That actually comes from Joseph Kosinski, who is the director. He actually came from an architecture background. So that's one of the reasons why the updates to the ships and the light cycles and the physical architecture of the grid looks so unworldly, but also grounded in reality, is because he was looking at things from an architectural standpoint. The script was initially called Tron the Next Day. Tron 2.0 went through multiple drafts. They had tons of writers come through, but eventually it was called Tron Legacy when it came out. In 2008 is really where the precipice was, where they were deciding, are we going to do this or are we not? And so Joseph Kosinski convinced Disney to let him shoot a 2-minute proof of concept trailer that they debuted at Comic-Con in 2008 to basically announce they were going to make the movie. And it was basically just a light cycle. It showed Jeff Bridges as old Kevin Flynn, but then also showcased the very beginning of the de-aging process, which again, this was like the first time that had really happened. And it was insane. I watched it earlier today. I could put myself back in 2008 and seeing that and just be like, holy shit, like this is coming back. We're finally getting Tron again. And that's when Disney was like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to make it happen. So it started shooting in 2008. Literally less than 4 months from mid-April through the beginning of July in 2009 is when they did production. So weirdly, like a short turnaround for a movie like this with that many like big effects and big sets that they did. Shot it in Vancouver. Like I said, this was one of the first entirely 3D movies shot for IMAX. So that was crazy. Jeff Bridges came on once he saw that Bruce Boxleiter was going to come back for his role as Alan and the voice of Tron, but also that the old director came on as a producer. And then Daft Punk was recruited, which I don't know if you guys noticed, Daft Punk was actually the DJs in the End of Line Club. So that was a fun little cameo. This genuinely, for me, top 3 scores ever created. For me, it's Lord of the Rings, Interstellar, and Tron Legacy. Like,
I think the score is the best thing about the entire
100%.
franchise.
And hearing that in IMAX was just
I bet.
absolutely insane.
With that sound.
But this is where Disney and the Tron team really, really looked forward, was in the marketing for how they were going to put this movie out. In 2009, they launched one of the first large-scale alternate reality games as their marketing. They launched a website called FlynnLives.com. And they started putting out this subliminal messaging everywhere that Kevin Flynn had disappeared. And this started a global campaign that got fans involved all across the world to try to figure out the clues leading up to Tron Legacy. So they unveiled a surprise teaser at Comic-Con in 2009. They started seeing clues all over Comic-Con for this FlynnLives.com situation. And they also recreated Flynn's arcade at the Comic-Con. So the entire arcade was there. Everyone could go around and play. Literally, like they made the games. They had the Tron game. They had the I forget what the spaceship where you're the tank shooting the spaceships. Like that game. Like everything from the original Tron. People started looking online, and they literally had. And this is where I remember vividly. They were dropping USB sticks in different cities and giving you coded messages on where you could find the USB sticks, and people were on Reddit and forums all over the place communicating with each other, trying to figure out where it was, and then one person would go and get it and would upload everything on the USB drive to the internet. So this really, like, it was absolutely crazy. Like they would launch GPS coordinates, and people had to figure out what these encrypted GPS coordinates meant, and then that's how they got it. Space Paranoids, that's the name of the game that I was trying to think of from the first
That's
movie.
a cool name for a video game.
Yeah.
So all of this leads to video files online of like a hacker talking about his conspiracy theory about where Flynn is, and going through like MCOM. You had Bruce Boxleiter, who was very heavily involved in these, doing interviews as Alan, who was the interim CEO at the time. You had this just crazy story, and that's kind of why you felt like you were kind of dropped in the middle of things. Like you still had enough information in the movie that you could watch it without knowing any of this. But there had been 18 months of lead up to all of this, to where the end was announced, all of these IMAX fan events 2 weeks before the movie was coming out, that if you were part of this internet cult of people finding all these clues, you got a pass to go to the pre-screening of the movie in IMAX 3D in your city. And so going to that fan event, seeing people who had been going all over the country, getting all the clues, it was just, it even got to the point where in April 2010, they staged a bunch of stuff at Comic-Con all around, like not even in like a specific like spot, where people were being given clues at Comic-Con from like MCon employees.
Wow.
And stuff like that. So I think that was one of the coolest things about this movie, was how global they made the lead up to this, so that fans didn't just feel like, oh, we're going to get a movie. They felt like there was something that really brought them back into the world of Tron.
So that wasn't too much distance from the first one. Like they were able to successfully execute that campaign, considering that it was that much time.
Yeah. Because like I said, they announced that they were going to be doing the movie in 2008 with that proof of concept trailer. So people were already excited. But I think they realized that 2-year gap was going to be a lot for people to like stay hyped about it. So that's why they started slowly releasing all these, leaked files for people to really start getting interested. And I mean, it worked on my end. Like it kept us, that 6 months leading up to that fan event that we got to go to, we were hooked the whole time. Every other day we're looking online at the updates on the websites and the forums, like who's found what are the new files, like watching the hackers released videos. Like it was absolutely crazy. I don't think any other movie's done something like that since.
Wow.
Do you think the movie would have had the mainstream success that it had without Daft Punk being connected?
No, I don't. I think it would have stayed underground. They probably would have cut the budget by a third, if not half, just because it probably would have been treated almost like a direct-to-DVD kind of movie.
Felt like most people, when it came out, had the mentality that's like, I'm gonna get a little high.
Yeah.
do a little drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of the same way people were like with Avatar.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go to like a Daft Punk like video album.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It's kind of what it felt like almost.
Yeah. And I mean, I think
to like some cool like Disney game that like, like it just like, that's kind of what it felt like. The way that they promoted it was very much like, come for the soundtrack, stay for the visuals.
Yeah. That's a whole subsect of moviegoers. I mean, hell, I went and saw the It remake
Oh, yeah.
And the kid next to me was stoned out of his mind. And when the first time they showed Pennywise, he literally had a panic attack and had to
Nice.
leave the theater.
Nice.
And his eyes were glazed. And I was like, dude.
Amazing.
And he saw Pennywise. He goes, "What the fuck?" and he's like, he kept saying, "What the fuck?" And he finally left the studio and never came back.
That's hilarious.
It was like, dude, what did you expect?
Yeah.
That was me in middle school. Not high school. That would have been high school, I guess.
Yeah.
They're kind of doing a similar thing with Tron Ares, which is coming out literally later this week, you guys. So
Yeah,
get
when's
to
that
the
out?
theaters. October 10th.
Boom. I'm
is
excited for that.
Is when that's coming out.
Wow.
But Nine Inch Nails is doing the soundtrack for that.
Oh, so that'll be cool.
That'll be cool.
And
Sounds like it'll be a whole new vibe.
Oh, 100%. And that's the point. That's exactly why, is because
they
the
have to do it
reason they
again.
brought Daft Punk
They have to
in
do it
is they
again.
wanted it to feel different from the original, but still have that electronic basing. And so that's why they brought in Nine Inch Nails, and not even just Trent Reznor, but Nine Inch Nails as a whole, because they still want the vibe, but they want it to be a very different take on the music.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bands of all time.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited for it for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
It
And then,
kinda,
and then the fourth one, it's going to be Wild Stallions.
Yeah.
Yes.
The soundtrack.
hell yes.
Yes. And then the fifth
Which,
one.
speaking of which, they're on Broadway. Whoever thought they'd see the Wild Stallions.
Oh, is there a band called Wild
No,
Stallions on Broadway?
Keanu and Alex Winters are doing.
Oh,
what is it?
like
Waiting for
New York
Godot.
Broadway.
Is that the play? Waiting for Godot.
New York Broadway. Okay.
Oh,
I
oh.
thought you meant downtown here.
Yeah, I was like,
It's a callback. It's a callback to our last episode.
Oh,
that we
absolutely.
some Alabaman would knock Alex Winters out down there.
did. Yeah.
The thing I'm excited about story-wise for the new one is it kind of picks up directly where the legacy leaves off, where a program comes to the real world. And now
That'll be fun.
it looks like the next movie is what happens when all the programs come to the real world.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Jeff Bridges is still in it.
Again.
Jared Leto's leading it, so it should be a very fascinating movie.
Kind of like Westworld.
Yeah.
What happens when?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we love it.
So I'm not expecting it to be as groundbreaking as the OG one was, but if it's just fun,
Yeah.
then that's all I want out of a sequel. That's all I wanted out of this one, and I think it very much delivered on the fun aspect of it.
Yeah. Randos. Thank you for that great history, by the way. You were
Absolutely.
very detailed. That was fantastic.
Thank
You
you.
lived it, man.
I did.
You
I
lived it,
remember
man.
this.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you covered a few of them. To take it one step further, with the Daft Punk being in the end of line club,
Yeah.
they actually, the song that's playing, they wrote for that scene.
Yeah.
So that song hadn't existed, and they said, actually, we'll write the song specifically for the scene. And yeah, they're in there dancing and
It's
stuff.
so good.
And it didn't even hit me until I read that Daft Punk did the soundtrack. I was like, oh, that might have been them, because that's
Yeah.
what they do, right? They wear the helmets all the time.
Yep.
Do they do that live?
They
Yeah.
did, yes.
They don't do it anymore.
They don't exist anymore.
Oh, they don't?
They, a couple years ago, it was funny. They didn't do shit for 11 years and then put out a video where they self-destructed and announced their official retirement.
Wow.
Even though they hadn't done anything in 11 years.
That's so Daft Punk.
It's so Daft Punk.
Yes. And so did you pick up on another Mickey Mouse Easter
I did
egg
not
here?
in this one, no.
So there's an Easter egg when Sam enters Flynn's arcade, you can hear the Steamboat Willie whistle for half a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they had to
That's
get it
cool.
in there somehow.
That's cool.
I would never have known that because I'm not a fan of Disney IP.
Fair enough.
But yeah, they had to get Mickey in there somehow.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good.
Yeah, they love that mouse, don't they?
That whole sequence of him opening up the arcade and like the 80s music playing and the lights turning on, like that was,
Yeah, those are my favorite parts of the movie.
I got chills.
Yeah, those are my favorite parts. I loved actually. That's one thing that this movie did better than the original Tron was it when it was in the real world. It looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The motorcycle scene at the end when they're driving, he says, "I want to show you something." Like those scenes are very well shot.
Oh yeah, the base jumping scene at the beginning is so good too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, shout out Cillian Murphy for his
Yes.
like 10-second cameo.
Yeah.
Love that.
As a slimy asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking about the things we did in tech 2 years before this movie was
Yeah.
made.
Dillinger Jr.
Yes. And it took me a minute to know that it was him.
Yeah.
I thought it was him. I was like, no, that's not him. And then they zoomed in. I was like, is that him?
Yeah. No, I had to look it up. I had to make
Yeah.
sure.
Because whenever his hair's long.
Yeah.
Well, he did Inception the same year.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, in 2010, I was actually curious because when you were talking during the history, I was really curious. It was a wild year for movies. Inception, Shutter Island, The Book of Eli,
Oh shit.
the Spy Next Door, Social Network,
Yeah.
The First Despicable Me, and Toy Story 3
Wow.
Wow.
all came out
It's a
in
big year.
So this movie had a crazy, and honestly, this movie probably needed a big marketing campaign
Oh, yeah.
to compete in this year.
And I mean, it made $400+ million off $170 million budget, so not the greatest, but still,
Right.
it was technically profitable. And I think that has led to, and I mean, Jared Leto is actually the one who led the charge on Tron 3. Like, he is the reason why this movie's getting made. But I think it made just enough money that they were like, okay, we can justify continuing with the IP. And it did spawn a couple of video games and a TV show.
Wow.
And I think this one's probably going to be really awesome.
I think so too. I'm excited.
Yeah, I've kind of, while doing this podcast with Seth, I've kind of like bought into the Jared Leto thing a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he's so good in Dallas Buyers. I'm kind of like into the Jared Leto thing.
I can't wait to show you Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, I know. It's on the list.
Yeah.
Last rando. So there actually is a little nod to the original in young Sam's bedroom when he's a kid at the beginning. There is a vintage life cycle model in the room, and it's I didn't see it. I had to rewind, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's in. I think if you had to nail one image, to me, I don't know how you feel, but you're the fan. But I think the light cycle is like the one thing that's synonymous. Like if you saw it, like, oh, that's Tron.
That's the number one thing. The number two thing are the space paranoid ships.
Yeah, those are cool.
Those are the two things visually. And I mean, yeah, there's the light up suits and everything, which the suits in this were actually lit up. This was the first time they'd been able to put LED strips inside of the suits. They digitally 3D modeled all of the actors and then created each of their costumes molded off their bodies. So that was another innovation they were able to do from the first one, was actually have light up costumes. But no, I agree. The light cycle and the space paranoid ships are the two things they had to nail, and I think they both nailed them both perfectly.
Yeah. What do you think, Evan? Synonymous?
Yeah. I would say that. Yeah. The what is it called again?
The light cycle?
The light cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
and the update to the trail I thought was so good.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I'm excited to see kind of what they do with that in the third one, right? But I mean, that first scene in the bedroom, especially where they show where he's got the little toy too of Tron. Right? Yeah. The way that they picked it right back up was great, and kind of to show how that the events from the first movie kind of ended up having
a direct effect.
Yeah. Love that. The questions. All right, this is big, and you can take the first one into account with this question. Who's the better user, Kevin or Sam?
Oh, I think Kevin's the better user.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think he kind of, he didn't have the benefit of knowing that something screwy happened with his dad. And so he just was thrown in blind and then figured out that he had powers. That was one thing I didn't like, is that Sam didn't have any extra program powers.
Yeah.
Like, and it was all Kevin who had, because at the very end, obviously, you see Kevin starting to use those powers. But I thought it would have been interesting if Sam had been able to figure out that he had some extra normal powers.
Yeah, what's interesting too is they gave him the Bruce Wayne treatment a little bit. It's like his father not died but left, and he's got weird, he's like strangely athletic, and can pull off a heist,
but he's also like literally owns billions of dollars in shares. He's the number one shareholder of the company, so I mean, it makes sense that he doesn't have to do shit. He
but he's
do whatever he wants.
Like Bruce Wayne, he's reclusive. He doesn't go to the meetings, and
just his annual drop in.
Just his annual drop in.
Prank. Love a good prank.
So that's actually something in the Flynn Lives videos. The year before, he is shown skydiving out of a helicopter and interrupting one of their launches. And that was his prank the year before the movie takes place.
Interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. What do you think? Who's the better user?
I mean, I think it's got to be Kevin. You know, Sam's. I mean, I'm still trying to process the whole thing.
There's a lot.
There really is
a lot to this plot.
But I got to go Kevin.
Especially if you're not going years between the movies. Because like if you're going one to the other, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah. So I don't know if I really have a reason why. Other than wasn't it Kevin's house? What a sick house.
Yeah.
So for me, that's it.
Yeah.
Is it because Garrett did not play Sam very well? Is that why?
I liked him.
I mean, honestly, he just didn't do it for me. I didn't believe him.
Yeah. Everything is so on the nose. Everything's just like in the same pronounced tone, you know?
Just didn't.
Maybe that's what happens when an architect directs a movie.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. I mean, he's done some stuff. I mean, F1, a lot of people think that's the best movie of this year. I haven't seen it yet, but he directed
in that?
The same director.
The same director.
Yeah, so you're going Kevin. I go Kevin too. I think, like you said, he got dropped into this world with no knowledge. Sam kind of comes in. What I don't like, and I'll take this from a cinematic point of view, is that the way they find out he's a user is when he was going to kill him.
Yeah.
And he was going to die. He lost that battle.
Yeah.
It's like, and they spared him because he's a user.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, also because it's Tron. Like, Tron had, like, that.
Yeah.
That was kind of the breaking point where Tron started questioning.
Yes.
And then later in the movie where he has that moment where it's like, I fight for the users.
Yeah. But Sam isn't necessarily extraordinary. He's lucky.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm kind of like, is he special, like, as a user?
Right.
I just didn't. And Kevin they gave him so much power in the first one. And obviously here, he's like almost a guru. He's almost got, I'm trying to think of the Star Wars character.
Yoda.
He's got Yoda-like mantra and power here. He's more of a guru, which is Jeff Bridges as an actor. That's just right up his alley. I mean, he should have had mushrooms in a bowl somewhere.
I'm sure he did. I genuinely think, though, my favorite moment is when he shows up at end of line during the fight, and then he just jumps down and everything goes dark for a second. Like, that is such a powerful moment.
Yeah.
Where he's like, no, I'm fucking back, bitches.
I'm back.
It's so good.
I do like the hood.
Yeah.
The hood was kind of cool. As much as I had a hard time kind of sinking my teeth into the physicality of the movie. Him walking into that room with that hood on. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Also the fact that, like I said earlier, the number of practical sets that they built. Like, they built the End of Line Club. That was one of the 4 massive sets that they built. They also built Flynn's house, and that was lifted 10 feet off the floor of the soundstage so they could get the uplit glass and everything.
So cool.
Again, that had another Star Wars feel. What's the Jabba the Hutt's?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the HUD.
There's a lot of, I'm not saying they copied it, but there are so many weird parallels.
I mean, it's sci-fi. At this point, it's kind of unavoidable for there to be crossover. Like Star Wars is a ripoff of Dune, technically.
Yeah.
Like, there's just everything's gonna borrow from each other. There's only so much you could do at this point. Some of it feels like Blade Runner. Some of it feels like Star Wars. Some of it feels like other sci-fi properties that have been out there.
Yeah. All right, this is a really fun category. Villain face-off here.
Ooh.
MCP versus Clue.
Oh, I definitely think the MCP was more terrifying.
Yeah.
He definitely felt more like a Darth Vader versus Clue feeling like a Kylo Ren. But I do think they're both good in their own right. And I actually think the way the de-aging hasn't quite lived up lends itself better to Clue, because I do think Clue should have felt like a video game character. And he did. Like, he genuinely felt like, and again, this is where I say they kind of did look forward. People weren't really doing so much of that photorealistic motion capture for video games yet. That didn't really start until a couple years later. So, because I think LA Noire was like the first one to go photorealistic, and I think it was 2013, 2014. And then Until Dawn kind of took it to a whole other level. But yeah, that was a place where they were kind of looking forward. But as a villain, he definitely comes more across as like a whiny protege versus the all-powerful being that the MCP was.
Yeah. Love it.
I liked Clue.
Oh, okay.
I liked Clue just because you get, I like when you have that twin, the evil twin.
Yeah.
I'm all about the evil twin.
Yeah. Kind of the platonic mold.
Yeah. Which, by the way, did you guys realize Clue is the same program from the beginning of Tron who's in the tank and gets captured by the MCP and de-rezzed on the wall because he won't talk.
Dude, there was
same program.
There was so much in this plot.
Yeah, I didn't pick that one up.
Like, just reading it on, like, if you read this plot on paper, you're like, huh?
Yeah.
But Clue is the same program from the beginning of the first movie that Flynn is trying to hack into the MCP.
Okay.
Yeah, this movie fell into the Marvel trap for me a little bit. Right towards
it kind of created the Marvel trap,
where
actually.
we get towards the end, and you're just kind of like, all right, I really liked the simple plot. Now
that's where I'm like, the middle could have been cleaned up so much.
I liked Hulk Smash, but you are throwing in all the shit, all the subplots.
Yeah. I don't need 30 movies to get the one movie.
Yes. I agree with you, man. So you go Clue. Yeah, this is a tough one to answer because I think just the visuals of MCP, the way he talks, is very frightening.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how intense it is.
Oh yeah.
It's also got that Wizard of Oz thing where it's the guy, it's got an old man behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
But that ending scene in Tron when he's rotating and he's, sucking up all the air and doing all the stuff, like that was really cool.
Yeah.
But the thing I do like about Clue is that, and I am always the sucker for the philosophical element of something. What he says at the very end is actually kind of haunting. That I did what you wanted me to do.
Yeah.
And that is actually really in line with technology. And it actually, what Clue does, he's doing what he was programmed to do.
Exactly.
And it's obviously it's tyrannical, it's horrible, it's all those things. But it's not surprising with an unmanaged technology. Shit gets wild, and you're seeing that with AI. So it's actually very realistic. So I give it a slight edge. I actually enjoyed MCP more, but the philosophical dilemma of almost kind of like what you alluded to with this platonic mold element of who Clue is pretty wild. So
I was not expecting that from either one of you.
Really?
That's really cool.
Slight edge.
Yeah.
But MCP is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
MCP is terrifying.
Yes.
In its context.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought that was probably, in terms of the writing, the best thing they handled. I think it's a very diluted story.
Yeah.
But they handled Clue's like messaging very well. So
Absolutely.
second one, and I have a feeling I know where Seth's going to go with this one. But did the sequel need to be made? That's always my question with sequels.
In my opinion, no. I don't think it needed to be made. I'm glad it was.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that world. But again, it's one of those things. It's kind of like Speed Racer for me. I am very happy Speed Racer is a standalone movie. As much as I would love to go back into that world that the Wachowskis made, as a standalone movie, it's fucking perfect. It is beautiful. And with Tron, you always had that question. I mean, I still have the question with the new one. As excited as I am for the new one, that question is always, is it going to hold up even a little bit compared to the others? This one, I think, does hold up reasonably well. It has its flaws. It's not a perfect movie. There's a reason it's a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was very divisive. That's the thing people need to remember. Just because it has 25% on Rotten Tomatoes doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It means it's very divisive among critics.
Is that what it got?
Literally, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So some people loved it. Some people hated it.
I'm
and
shocked by that.
That's where it comes down to. And most of the problems they had with it were the same problems we have. They thought the story was a little diluted, it was a little too long, and they didn't feel like the facial technology was as good as it could have been, even though at the time it was better than anything that had ever been done. So
there's just a lot of it. That's why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't used as tastefully as it could have been.
Yeah.
If they had relegated it to just that opening scene and then nothing but Clue, I think it would have been better, but they kept doing those flashback scenes. And when you see young Jeff Bridges and Clue, it is a little jarring because young Jeff Bridges it hits an uncanny valley, which I think you needed for Clue, but not with a young Jeff Bridges.
Sometimes it looks like Hannibal Lecter wearing someone else's
Hannibal
face. Hannibal Lecter. It looks like Hannibal Lecter wearing a face sometimes. It kind of looked like someone. I was like, is he wearing the face?
Exactly.
Did he cut off Jeff Bridges' face and wear it?
They had a double, and then they went and scanned Jeff Bridges' face doing the dialogue later. So it's the same motion capture technology they're using now.
Wow.
It just was the first stage of it.
What do you think? Did it need to be made?
Similar to Seth, no, but I'm glad it was because it's a fun world.
Yeah.
The thing about it that I after the first movie and even the second movie, what are the stakes here?
Right.
Is it just a guy that's like, my technology's being stolen? What impact does this have on the world?
Yeah.
And I just don't know that was communicated really in either movie.
I think the one thing that did get communicated in this one was Clue's army, because that was where he was like, no, I'm going to bring you to the real world. And that was really the only place where I felt like the stakes got raised other than Sam trying to bring his father back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that is going to lend itself well to
I think the
new
third one. Yeah, I mean, kind of similar to The Matrix, right?
Yeah.
Where kind of the implications on what this means, and kind of what it means in Westworld.
Yeah.
Right? When these things escape, get to the other side, which I guess is what we're seeing in the third.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this one feels like a stepping stone to what could maybe ultimately end up being the best Tron movie.
I don't think any of them are going to be the original, and I kind of don't want them to. Like, I just, again, as long as it's fun for me, I'll be perfectly happy. Just don't suck balls.
Well, I think that this third one is going to be better than the second one.
Probably. Yeah. I think it might be.
Because the second one was fun.
Yeah.
But again, it definitely felt like it wasn't trying to pay tribute to the original. right? Like in some ways it was,
Mm-hmm.
but
I said, it had a weird balancing act of paying tribute, but also trying to move things forward.
yeah, and just like make a bunch of money,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
right? Whereas the first one didn't feel like it was out there to make a bunch of money.
No.
You know, this second, the way that this second one was definitely promoted was, we want to hit the mainstream with this.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't feel like a priority in the first one.
Yeah. I think there are genres that suffer from inventor's dilemma.
Mm.
The inventor's dilemma is the first one does something really new or something very innovative or specific. Jaws is an example of this, where Jaws 2, I really like Jaws 2, but I understand why a lot of people don't. They're like, we've seen the shark.
Yeah.
So whenever like they're hiding the shark at the beginning of Jaws 2, it's like, oh my gosh, is that a shark eating that guy's leg?
Yeah.
You know, and they're like trying to hide it. It's like, we know it's a shark.
Well, that was also the problem Aliens had, was you've seen the aliens. They were like, well, what do we do? Well, they ended up making the aliens weaker. Like you see,
and more of them.
Yeah, well, there's more of them and weaker, so you just see them wiping tons of them out, and so they stop being this scary force of nature that they are in the first one.
Yeah, and somehow like the blood, the acid blood affecting people was very selective on who it splattered on when you're shooting them in the face with machine guns. It was like, oh, it hurt her, but Sigourney's fine.
Yeah,
but you know, it's like we're just be really selective. So that's one of the things I think I struggled with is where this, and I know that it took another step technologically in terms of like the digital and how it was made, but I needed performances to also take a step up. And here, somehow the performances took a step back, even though there should have been better acting here. Yeah. So
to each their own. I disagree.
I just was annoyed. Yeah. There's not a single besides Martin or Michael Sheen. I couldn't believe Jeff, and I'm a Jeff Bridges fan, and I'm just watching him here. I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah.
I wanted it to take a step forward there. I don't think the lore, and here's the limitation it has, and this is more of a personal limitation. I just think very darkly about technology. I have very dark thoughts about it. I've been in the industry. I'm not excited about where it's all going.
Yeah.
And I say that as an independent person that doesn't reflect the thoughts of anybody else that I may be associated with in the technology industry. But
the opinions of Kyle Castro do not reflect the Movie Wars podcast.
Yeah. And I think it's cool because there has to be movies out there that everybody can watch. Like, not every technological movie needs to be Swordfish or Terminator. Like, there needs to be movies for family too. But there were some dark notes that this movie doesn't hit, and it just doesn't it doesn't necessarily align with what really is like how dark technology is.
Yeah.
And it did once again, my favorite parts of this were in the world, in the real world. Not enough real world for me. I would love to just get a little more. And I know it's all about this digital world and it's all about that.
Well, then you might love Tron Ares.
Yeah.
It's all in the real world.
Honestly, like with the threat of them getting into the real world, I was like, that's where the movie's at.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's not even the threat. It is what happens.
Yeah.
They start the movie by saying we've brought these characters into the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So did it need to be made? I think, but of all the things I said, the biggest thing is the innovator's dilemma. It's just like you're really lost in the idea of how innovative the first one was. Here, that yes, it moves the needle forward, but a lot of things have happened.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen in film. I need better performances to go along with that uplift. And that's where I said, so no. And honestly, like, I don't really have a lot of interest in seeing 3. And you're saying it, I'm sure, and I like Jared Leto enough that maybe I will, but
a sentence I never thought you'd
say. What about 9 Inch Nails? I thought they're one of your favorite bands.
Who?
9 Inch Nails.
Oh yeah, of all time, yeah, top 10. Well, yeah, 9 Inch Nails doing it. That is kind of cool. And every soundtrack Trent Reznor's done, like
is perfect.
7, Social Network. I mean, he's brilliant.
Yeah,
that might be you're right about that. That might get me in the theater.
Here we go.
But yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to the theater to see it, but I will.
Yeah.
Oh no, I will. I will see it in IMAX because seeing. That is the other thing is I do have the benefit of the memory of seeing it in IMAX 3D, and the fucking spectacle of it in IMAX 3D was at the time unlike anything that had ever been put on screen before.
Yeah.
Like genuinely. That was before Marvel really started kicking off. All you'd really had was Iron Man and the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you did not have these gigantic IMAX spectacles in a sci-fi movie like this at the time.
Right.
So this, in my opinion, this even kind of out-spectacled like the Star Trek reboot of 2008.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that is something I do have the benefit of, that memory of just how insane it was in the movie theater.
Last question.
Who
or what won the film for you, and who or what lost the movie for you?
I know you guys are probably going to say the acting lost the movie for you. The writing is actually what lost the movie for me in this. And that's where I feel like it could have been trimmed up by 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and it would have been significantly better. But genuinely, what won the movie for me was just the overall product itself. It's like, yeah, you can nitpick, and it's not even nitpicking, but you can have the issues that you have with it. But it's like the package itself was still so much fun. And there was still, it expanded on a world that I was interested in from the get-go. So the fact that I got to see more of it, and it still had the feeling of a Tron movie, even with its shortcomings, it still felt like a Tron movie. So that's really what won it for me, was just the overall feeling I got from seeing it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with what lost it for me. I'm going to go with, it was more the writing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really just went on a little too long. The acting, I can deal with bad acting in movies. I mean, most movies have bad acting anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yes, that's the norm now.
Yeah.
so, for me, this was, it was more like, the writing towards the middle. I'm just like, okay, let's reel it in. Let's simplify it a little bit. What won it for me, I mean, I just think was like, the special effects, with the exception of the de-aging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even say the de-aging lost it for me. Like, how bad it was almost won it for me, if that makes sense. Like, I kind of was like, okay.
Yeah.
Something else lost it for me. Olivia Wilde's makeyp a couple of times. I looked at it and I was like, something is off with the lighting, or maybe it's my TV in high def in 2025, and maybe it was the way that it was shot. But there were just a couple of moments where I was like, y'all look like y'all are making a high school movie or something. Like, what is going on here?
Interesting.
So that took me out of it a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take it a step further. Yes, the acting, but the writing, the story is too complicated. I think not only could have been shorter, a little bit simpler. And I'm not a dumb person. I mean, sometimes I'm dumb, but I'm a technological person, and I should be keeping track. But I just think there's so many twists and turns, and I'm always like, I asked myself a few times in the movie, like, did I miss something?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel that? Like, it was like, did I miss a detail?
That's what I felt like in this movie a lot.
Yeah, I was like, what are they?
And that's where I feel like it could have been tightened up.
Yeah.
Because I think the plot, the general beats of the story were great.
Yes.
And the things that happen, fine, but it's like, it's that in between where it goes off on a little bit of a tangent that it probably shouldn't have gone off on. Honestly, I weirdly, I think I could have done a little more without the development of Olivia Wilde's character. I would have rather her just be a regular program and not one of these like refugees that Jeff Bridges found. Like, I thought that was a little bit of a weird tangent to go on.
Yeah, adding the ISO algorithms was another addition to the lore. They just kept stacking it on.
Exactly.
Stacking it on. What won it for me was, this is a soundtrack that I will listen to.
100%.
It's funny, I will never watch this movie again. I will listen to the soundtrack on the way home.
Did your kids watch these with you?
I didn't. They weren't home.
Okay. I think you should watch them
I
again
would,
one day
yeah.
with your kids, because I do think they are very fun family movies.
Yeah, I agree. My daughters watched about 10 minutes of the first one with me, and they thought it was interesting.
Oh, nice.
No, yeah, but the soundtrack is amazing, and I love that they, in the marketing, they played it into the lore.
Yeah.
And Daft Punk was they had some crazy hits in our time.
Oh yeah, they were top of the world at that point in time.
Right. And the fact that they're doing it with Nine Inch Nails, that is something that is cool. I love like bands or artists that pair, like Eddie Vedder did with Into the Wild. And now his voice is synonymous with the movie, and he toured on that soundtrack.
Yeah.
I love it. That's just a cool little thing. It's just a cool little thing. So, I mean, as much as I didn't really enjoy watching this movie, the soundtrack was just...
Yeah.
The club scene, that song is the best song in the movie.
It's so good.
And I love watching Daft Punk dance to it in the little booth.
Like I said, especially with IMAX sound, like the soundtrack just beats your face in with such beauty. It's so good.
All right, we ready for the war zone?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Remember, rapid fire. Each host goes through 4 categories to figure out if we like or dislike the movie. It's cast, it's writing, directing, and what used to be what's in front of us now is called film composition, which is sound, editing, graphics, stunts, music, all the things.
Yeah.
Seth.
So cast is going to be a squeak over for me. I know you guys didn't like them. I actually thought that everyone did a reasonably good job. I don't see what you're saying, especially with Jeff Bridges. I thought he played his character the way he played it in the first movie, and brought a little bit more of that old man, like regretful of his past, but hoping he can fix things maybe one day. But Again, nothing stand out. I didn't hate Sam either. I thought he was fine. I thought he played the son of Jeff Bridges' character well.
Yeah.
But again, nothing. I would never be like they got snubbed at the Oscars. No, they were all just fine. Michael Sheen really stands out. It's funny. This movie made me think. Originally, I thought he was Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I think he was absolutely incredible as Zeus. The writing, that's actually where I'm going to go under. I agree with both of you guys. The couple of tangents it went off on, it was a little too long, a little too convoluted, could have been tightened up significant. If this had been an hour 45, I think it would have been a perfectly wonderful sequel with maybe a couple of qualms here and there, but I think tightening everything up would have been way better. So I'm going to go under on that. Directing though, I think the vision that Joseph Kosinski brought to this was a very appropriate step forward for the world. I think how he took the old elements and brought them into the new age of what video games looked like, I thought he did such an incredible job. Again, at the time, and I have the benefit of looking back on this, there was nothing else on screen that was like this. And so it's an absolute yes for me on directing. And then obviously, say what you want about the de-aging. It was the first of its kind. It was as good as it possibly could have been at the time. So it's fine for me. Like, yeah, looking back, it's not the greatest. It does take you out of it a little bit, but it's fine for when it came out. But overall, the rest of the visuals and especially Daft Punk soundtrack is 100% a win for me on the composition of the film. So yeah, it's a 3-1 for me.
Yeah.
It's a 3-1 for me in the opposite direction, though.
Oh, okay.
So acting. Boop. Boop. Just, let's get a couple of big names together. Let's get the guy who was in the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, just, the classic Disney model of, I don't know. The acting didn't do it for me. Nothing about the acting, to me, really carried this movie. It was all... everything else. So maybe it wasn't a 3-1. It's a tie. It's a 2-2.
Okay.
Writing. Boop. Again, just long, complex, too complicated. I liked elements of it, but really, no. They needed to keep it a little bit more simple, a little more straightforward.
Yeah.
Again, it turned into like a Marvel movie where it's like, let's kind of, turn this into a real technical thing.
Yeah.
Directing, I'll go thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go thumbs up on the directing. Directing, I really liked the way the movie began, the way it was presented. I liked the kind of going back and forth between the worlds. I think a good director will save bad writing.
Yeah.
So I think the only reason the movie was palatable really had to do with the fact that, the director came in and he could make something out of it.
Yeah.
And then composition, that's getting thumbs up.
Yeah.
To your point, that's really what sold the movie.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't no one's going to see a Jeff Bridges movie like we go see a Leonardo DiCaprio movie, or a Daniel Day-Lewis movie or a Christian Bale movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like he's just the guy.
Yeah. He's the dude.
He's just the dude that got the role many years ago and gets to do it again.
Yeah.
Right. This is one of those things that probably back then he took on the role being like, this is going to be a mistake.
Yeah.
Or it's just going to be a fun experience on set.
Or it's just going to be a fun, but then it ends up being like, oh, I guess my likeness is part of this franchise. Right. So,
he is going to be in the new one too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. Bridging the gap.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that joke again. Yeah, cast, I don't know. I can't belabor it anymore. Just not a single, besides Michael Sheen, not a performance I like here. Sam is, I think, malpractice. It's malfeasance. It's an HR violation. It's bad news. And I feel bad because I'm sure he's a nice guy as a person, but not good. Everything had one note. Everything was kind of on the nose. I just didn't see a lot of range. I just needed one performance to kind of like, and it wasn't there. Writing, I mean, we've belabored this. I mean, just throwing things at me. I'm just like, whoa, could have been shorter. It did have a couple of zingers like the first one that were good.
It was still very funny.
Yeah,
like,
it
the
had
parts
some
that they
little
were
bit of
joking,
comedy.
I enjoyed that, but I agree with you all the rest of it.
Little bit of comedy, good, but I just a little bit simpler, a little bit shorter. The story's already super. It could be very interesting. You don't need to dilute it because you've already got the visuals. But I feel like I don't know why they were just throwing the kitchen sink at me. You know, plot wise, directing. I mean, I'm like trying to figure out like how to score this because he
didn't write it at all. He was not involved in the writing whatsoever.
For me, it's comparing it to Maverick, which Kaczynski did as well. I've seen him organize his thoughts in a very strong way and show me something very convincing with action and with good dialogue. The things that made it to the final cut here it was kind of vexing to me. Interesting. I don't know how many of those choices belong to him because so much of it is digital, but you said there's a lot of practical sets.
Oh yeah, the vast majority of like stuff they're standing on is real.
Yeah. I'm trying to not be so negative, but I am going to go no. There was not, the first one had so many memorable images and so many decisions made and crucial decisions that changed film here. I just don't, no takeaways. I'm sad. I want to be positive.
See, the visuals is what I remember from this one.
And I'll talk about that in the last category. It's a no because at moments it was
no.
It was cluttered. It was so cluttered. The soundtrack is amazing. Like if I could just score the soundtrack alone, 10 out of 10, dude.
Yeah.
But that last scene where they're flying and running into each other, I just kind of found it a lot to be cluttered. And I use the word overstimulated. I'm overstimulated a lot. And it's overwhelming at sometimes to kind of keep up with all the things going on screen. There's not a lot of physicality, which is funny that you say it's more sets and it's more practical than the last one. I found it to be less tactile than the last one. I thought the last one was a little more
because like all the costumes were real. And
they
were all lit up on set.
So maybe it was sound. I don't know. There was some weird disconnect between me and what I was seeing on screen when they were fighting, when they're duking it out, when they're flying around. I just felt disconnected from what I was seeing.
Fascinating.
So it's a dirty sweep, I guess, is the opposite of a clean sweep. Again, I will just dote on the soundtrack to make sure I leave on a positive note. What a great soundtrack. More directors should partner the way David Finch has partnered with Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
The way Eddie Vedder did. I mean, that is a winning thing for a lot of things. So.
I have a very strong feeling Jared Leto is the one who really like pushed hard for 9 Inch Nails to come in on.
Is he buddies with Trent?
I mean, they've definitely like been around the same spheres together. So, but I mean, like I said, Jared Leto apparently is the only reason this movie has gotten off the ground.
Interesting.
They've been teasing it since 2017, and that he said he was going to be involved in it, and Disney has just pushed it and pushed it and pushed it, and Jared has been the one apparently who's just been like, no, we're gonna make this movie.
That dude went from almost retired to reviving a franchise.
Yeah,
that's funny. Well, this was a blast.
Absolutely,
this was a light cycle blast here.
You got any October dates?
Boom. Yeah. October 17th, Nashville Comedy Loft.
There we go. Yes.
Come check it out. We'd love to see you.
And may not remember last time. What's your special called again?
Twice Removed on YouTube. Evan Burke, BE.
And Spotify. It's on Spotify.
And it's on Spotify.
Yeah. I think
YouTube,
it's
Spotify, Apple, everywhere.
Yeah, it's a great special. It's a great special.
You. It was number one on Apple when it came out.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Duh.
Not anymore, but
yeah. Time changes all things.
Yeah.
But anyway, this was a blast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Seth.
I'm Evan.
Hasta la vista programs.
The Movie Wars.